Spinosaurus. Clearly, we've all talked about it. Some of us have seen the comparisons. Some of us believe Rex will win, some of us believe Spino will win, and in this video, we're going to address this very clearly with all the clues we can possibly get. And I'll even simulate some of the Spino mechanics to you. Starting off, let's check out what we can expect. And for this, we can go all the way back to Legacy. In Legacy, Spino could face tank a Rex, but a lot has changed since then. So, will he still be able to defeat Rex? What will his mobility be like? What is his primary ability? We're gonna get on with it. And keep in mind, this video is a complete speculation and nothing is 100% accurate. Looking at the size difference, we can clearly tell that Spino is definitely going to have more weight than Rex overall. It is completely unclear by how much, but I really don't think it's gonna be too huge of a difference for balance reasons. So, perhaps it's 10 tons at adult, 15 at prime elder. Compared with Rex, he'd be about 2.7 tons heavier as a prime elder. However, this is only the smallest speculation, because he can do this. This is what's expected to be an adult Spinosaurus spinning or grappling an adult Deinosuchus. There is even another image of this. So, we can expect Spino to be able to easily win against the fight with Dino, which makes me think, will the size difference be that huge even at prime? Because ever since the Prime Elder system was introduced, Dino's maximum size have become bigger than Rex's. So it's hard to tell, because if they stick to the concept they showed us, that would mean Spino is going to be big enough to have a way to pin or grapple a Prime Deinosuchus. Does this mean we're all gonna have a boss-sized Spino? At that point, will Rex even stand a chance? Well, let's take a look. But to understand if it'll actually have the stats to back up that terrifying size, we need to look deep into the Isle's history. Namely, the Isle Legacy. Oh boy, that word gives me nostalgia. Spino in Legacy was a menace. It was somewhat equal to Rex and somewhat better. Face tanking wise, Rex would lose in Legacy. And looking at the stats of Legacy Rex at max weight is the same as adult Stego in Evrima, and Legacy Spino at max weight is the size of an adult Trike in Evrima. That is a huge difference. This means Spino versus Rex's first appearance was like the fight between adult Trike and Prime Elder Rex. If they follow the same logic in Evrima, Spino would be 16.8 tons at Prime Elder. That's huge! Biggest carnivore in the game, probably. That is one fat boy. But let's also look at the other stats from Legacy. Spino had only 250 bite force. Compared to Rex's 1200 bite force, this feels tiny. The only really benefit it has, other than the fact that it bites really fast, it inflicts an immense amount of bleed. The only reason I'd say Spino wins the face tank was because of the bleed inflicting directly into health in Legacy. So, what do you mean Spino wins against the Dino and loses against the Rex in Evrima? Well, it's not that simple. We are leaving out the factor that the Spino was even more incomplete than Rex in Legacy, meaning it was not finished. And you couldn't even play Spino without a server with commands. But we can kind of understand what the devs were trying to make. I personally think they plan on making Spino an immovable object compared to Rex's unstoppable force. I believe that a Rex facing a Spino will be similar to a Rex facing a Trike, where it needs to get creative to defeat it. Face tanking just won't do. I mean, hey, we've got two of the biggest apex predators and the most popular ones. The devs wouldn't want to just make their fight a lame face tank. They've invented sparring purely because they don't like face tanking. So, how would they make it a complex fight rather than simple left-click spam? Well, first of all, we know Spino already has more weight, so we give him the Dilo and Allo treatment. He gets a small bite force that he can spam incredibly fast. And we give it just enough damage so that Rex loses a straight face tank with no crush. I mean, that part's obvious. Rex's bite speed is so sluggish. The devs are already trying their best to make Rex as far away from face tanking as possible. Like, take a look at Dino versus Rex, for example. If Dino and Rex fully face tank each other, the Dino wins. But if the Rex runs away and comes back each time his bite is ready to perfectly trade 1-for-1 bite, the Rex wins, purely because he has more bite force and lacks on bite speed. So, the Rex is best when he uses his brain. But when it comes to Spino, I mean, you've seen this thing. This is clearly a kaiju of some sort. You do not want to be face tanking this thing. It should be clear enough from the size. And I won't lie, giving Spino a fast attack speed kinda suits him. This guy will appear out of the river like a jump scare. He will shred you down. You need to run for your life. His fear factor is how fast his attacks are. Well, his legs on the other hand, this is another thing about Spino we need to discuss. Spino may have had immense turn speed in Legacy, but he lacked the speed to catch a Rex. He was immensely sluggish. I believe they will give him the Allo turn speed, where he's kind of bad turn when he's running, but incredibly fast while at slower speeds, or while standing still. This makes him a very effectively defensive carnivore, and to be honest, it fits the whole aquatic roster they've been building up. I mean, have you seen the defensive stance of Baryonyx? So yeah, Spino will most likely be defending his rivers, lakes, or waters. You can expect to see this thing dominating Highlands Lake. Or what's left of it. It's the Redwoods Lake now. But back to these two behemoths fighting, I believe we can expect a combat that's like Shoutout versus Allo between Rex and Spino, where Rex will be trying to find openings to crush, try to get a bone break, while Spino is absolutely shredding the Rex and punishing for every time he wants to face off against something of that size. If Rex gets decent bone breaks, a head fracture, maybe a leg fracture, that's when you can call that Rex the winner. But other than that, yeah, get this goofy-ass king lizard back to the sanctuaries when he's struggling to kill a baby anything. Back to our precious Spino who just won the fight. Sir, I've got a question. What do you reliably eat?
Excuse me?
I mean, how will you survive? I mean, except for feeding on the local gators, like, with your presence, nobody will want to play Dino, right?
Who says I'm only gonna stay water?
Terrestrial Spinosaurus. Well, this Spino is a Spino. It's not a Dino. Let's talk about his land skills. This guy is defensive, which is awesome, but he is not a chaser. We get him a sluggish running speed where he's unable to chase most things, but this makes it so that he can't catch anything. However, the difference between Dino going on land and a Spino going on land is that Dino is vulnerable. Spino isn't. Spino gets a massive sniff range so that he can track down old carcasses. He steals bodies from players that have been sitting around too long. We let him eat run meat and we let him eat bones so that he can perfectly scavenge. I mean, unless you're willing to fight that thing over your corpse. Just let him have the bones, man. I mean, even if you still got a fully fleshed body, it's up to you to decide if you want to fight Godzilla himself. Well, obviously we do want Spinos to stick near water, so we give him a smaller than average dehydration time, just as a little push of courage. So now, we've ensured Spino's adult survival and combat. What about the growth? It gets a subadult speed boost, similar to Allosaurus, so that it can escape its predators. But definitely not as big of a buff as a Rex adolescent stage gives you, where they go new. This adds a significant challenge to the growth of Spinosaurus. You can escape a lot of things, but not everything. A Shoutout should be very slightly faster than Spino, so that the Spino has time to run into the closest river, but not escape otherwise. A Spino will need to depend on the nearby water source to escape, and this is also where the Dinos come in handy, because Spinos as juveniles have predators both on land and in water. So, when you do end up growing that damn Spino, you're going to enjoy your rewards well, and value your life since you had hardship growing. This makes it so that early Spino stages, you're playing a horror game. Late Spino stages, you're the horror game. Everyone's last thing they want to see isn't a Rex. It's you. But wait, if you are the ultimate horror game on the server, who's your final boss? Like, what happens when an unstoppable kaiju runs into another unstoppable kaiju? Spino versus Spino. If two of these behemoths cross paths fighting over a river system, we don't want a boring, brain-dead left-click face tank. That would be a massive letdown for the two of the biggest things in the game. We want a cinematic monster movie fight. So, here's my pitch. A simple one. Give Spino a stun attack. I'm talking about a heavy, sweeping claw attack that acts like a secondary move. It wouldn't do massive damage, but it would inflict a micro stun or stagger the opponent, just enough to interrupt their bite animation. But nowhere near as strong as Rex's one, cause he can alt attack with his stun. Spino can't. This completely changes the dynamic. Spino versus Spino combat suddenly turns into a heavyweight boxing match in the mud. It becomes all about timing and mind games. You have to bait out your opponent's stun, dodge it, then punish them with your fast bite spam while they're staggered and vulnerable. This makes it so that you aren't just trading health bars anymore. It's more complex than that. You're actively looking for openings. You're actively attempting to land a devastating combo. It completely fits the brawler aesthetic of the dinosaur. But hey, you're getting dragged too far into the peak cinema. That's just my speculation. This is all a small concept. Wake up to reality. Spino didn't even come out yet. Let me know what you guys think about these mechanics down in the comments. Would a Spino claw stun make sense? Do you think the fast bites are a good idea? Should Spino get the ability to pin? Drop a like for the algorithm, subscribe if you enjoy the breakdown, and you can expect me to go back into hibernation until the next major update drops. Peace out, you lovely people. See you in the comments section. Bye bye.